Welcome to the 2021 Dynasty Divisional Draft. We are here with our first, second, and third place teams with our champion here, Mr. Sean Canfield. How we doing, Sean?
Good. How you doing?
I'm going good. Doing real good.
Good. Great.
Our second place team, Andy Castor. Andy?
Cheers. Good to be back.
Cheers. And then, not to be discounted in any way, our third place team, Lucas. How are you?
Doing well.
Pieces.
I just noticed Canfield only has one name up there, like he's Prince. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
There's only one Canfield.
That was left over from, I don't even know, one of the last drafts we did. Like when I opened the Zoom app, I think that's the last time I just typed that in there.
All right. So, well, I guess we could just get this started. But before I do, is there any kind of high-level teardrops you guys see? Like, there's an easy 1, 2, 3. Is there an easy 4, 5, 6? What have you done in your rankings? Sean, we'll start with you.
Well, I feel like I had a couple in mind for the first pick, and some stuff that happened recently kind of pushed me in a certain direction. I'll save that for when I make my selection. But I think that Lucas and Andy are still looking really strong, so I'm glad that they're not on the board for me to have to select. They're at the high end of the tier.
Now, when you guys put your rankings together, how much time did you put into this? And maybe I'll go to Andy on this one.
I put in the amount of time that you guys have been talking since this call has started. My preparation this year has been 0. That said, I already have a clear top 3 in my I've got my number 1, 2, and 3, and if one's there, I'll take that team, and if it's not, I'll go right on to my number 2. Gotcha.
And Lucas, how much time would you say you've put into this?
I didn't put in a lot of time because I only get to pick once, and it's 2 teams. I had to get like 5 deep in this thing. So that's all I need to do, really.
That's a good strategy.
4 deep, actually. Sorry.
All right. Well, I guess without further ado, Canfield, you're on the clock. Who do you want?
All right. Landock kind of made it easy on me this year with a trade he made earlier this week. He's got a little bit of cap room, and I don't even think he has a draft pick now this year. So, yeah, I'm going to take Landock there.
Now, do you think you'll get any type of flack, or do you think he'll be angry with you regarding being the first one picked?
I mean, who knows? But by his actions this week, when I was trying to keep up with all the, let the dust settle, kind of looked like he was trying to rebuild. So I feel like he might have picked himself first. Now,
would you say that Landock has been always rebuilding? Has there ever been a finish to his construction at any time?
I don't know. I guess so, but he's clear. He's got a lot of. It looks like he's got a lot of picks coming up, so maybe this one will finally pay off for him.
Yeah, Landock reached out to me a couple times, and I think one of his quotes were, "I like to wreak havoc." I'm not sure if he meant, on the league or to himself. It seemed somewhat ambiguous whether or not he was trying to mess other people up or just ruin himself. So, wow. Okay, so Landock's off the board. Castor, you're on the clock.
All right. So it breaks my heart to do this because we just got back from happy hour. I'm going AK, number 2.
Oof. Interesting. Talk me through your logic.
So got limited cap space here, right? 28 million, and he's got 7 spots to fill. So that's not a lot. And in terms of trying to rebuild this year, if he wants to go for it, he's got Chubb and Jones and now Fournette. So it's a solid backfield, but still questions at QB, questions at receiver, limited cap space, and no firsts in the tradable window. So limited equity to make a run for it, I think.
So Lucas, I saw you react when Castor mentioned Abenal's wide receiver situation. Do you want to expand on that?
I think by the auction, he doesn't have a wide receiver on the roster outside of anybody he drafts. Like, there's There's no reason to carry T.Y. Hilton to the auction at $39 million. And Marvin Jones is he the one who went to the
fine
Jag?
deal. Yeah.
It's okay, but it's probably double what it should be.
And he needs a tight end too now. I think he
Yeah.
made a trade today, so he's got to fill QB and tight end, which
Yeah. My only worry is that he could trade Edmonds or Fournette or even Michelle for some decent equity out there. So he's got 3 tradable running backs that he could get rid of 2 of them and still be long. And he could easily turn Chase Edmonds into a wide receiver too, I think.
Interesting. Follow-up question. Why do you love Chase Edmonds so much?
I don't know. I think that's the general consensus out there that he's going to be the running back down there.
That's good.
And at $8 million, that's in a 1-year deal. I think that's a perfect sort of deal for Chase Edmonds because I don't think he's going to be around at 22.
Okay. Fordham running back. Not a lot of Fordham running backs out there. So, Lucas, on the clock, back to back. How do you want to handle it?
All right. So this one, I feel relatively strongly about this. So I'm going to go with Truman. He's got good depth at decent depth at wide receiver. He's got 3 starters there. He's got Akers at running back, but he's going to need at least 2 more running backs, and that's going to eat up pretty much all of his $30 million worth of cap. Not to mention he has no quarterbacks on the roster. So he might be able to get 1 startable running back out of that group, and I think he's just going to be struggling the rest of the year. So even though he's got 4, 5, and 9, I don't think those are running back picks, to tell you the truth. I think the startable running backs will be gone by that point, so he's going to have to either turn 2 of those into a top 3 pick, and then he's probably going to, like, in my mind, I see him using 9 on Lawrence, which is good for anybody who has 10, 11, 12. But, yeah. So that's my rationale on Truman.
So would you say that every year we collectively as a league bet against Truman? And somehow he succeeds. Now, are you worried about his ability to kind of overcome adversity and become a challenger?
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about Landock wreaking chaos. I think he has the ability to start paying attention and make 5 trades in a week, and all of a sudden his roster is completely different. And that's fine, I guess, and he's welcome to do that, but I got to do it based on what today looks like, and I just feel like he's a top 3. He's got a decent amount of room, but he's also got a large amount of roster spots to fill.
Follow-up question. Why do you hate Truman?
I don't know. Never met him, so I'm allowed, right, from afar to hate the guy.
Well, okay, next pick.
Next pick.
Truman's going to hate you for this, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll find you. I will come to your house and find you.
Yeah. So next pick, this sort of goes to what Canfield was saying. I like what Oaks has done in the last week or 2. He's really sort of changed the tenor of his team, and he's going to have Jonathan Taylor and probably Harris with the 101. But there's really, again, he's only got like 20 million in cap, not even 15 million in cap. And he's not getting a starting running back at 13, 14 with the rest of his picks. I just feel like he's going to be kind of weak at the running back position. And I'll take people who are weak at running back right now.
Yeah, I'll just interject. I mean, I kind of like what Oaks has done over taking over the team from Candy. He's been a great addition to the league. Yeah, so I think
moving to like borderline a playoff team is, that's not bad after what he was given. I think he rearranged that team great, and there's no knock on him. I think it's Candy dug him a giant hole.
I will say trading Jonathan Taylor to pay so much to get him back is a bit of a question mark. It's like, God, what's the equivalent? Paying a divorce settlement to your wife and then paying her twice as much for her to remarry you. It's kind of what that feels like. So very interesting. All right, Oaks. All right, Caster, back on the clock. Oh, wait, actually, before you pick your pick, Sean, Caster, any surprises out of Lucas's picks? Did you have similar grades on those guys? We'll go to Sean first.
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say Truman, I think could end up with a good team, but I think a lot of it hinges on rookies. So I had him somewhere in the middle there too, because I wasn't, he could go either way. I honestly feel like he traded away some of his actual, proven guys, even though he might have opened up some cap space. And Oaks, it's kind of same deal. I think he strengthened himself with that Taylor trade because he really didn't have a running back going into this. But I like the moves Oaks is making, but I get what Lucas is saying. Right now he's only going to have a couple running backs, and if one of them gets hurt or anything happens, he's going to be hurting.
Yeah, and I mean for the Colts, the real RB1 there is Naheem Hines. I mean everybody knows that. So.
And Truman's got him.
Marlon
Marlon, who? Anyway, so next up, Caster, who do you got?
I'll get back to the opinion real quick.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I had Landock and Albanoff as 1 and 2, so that's no surprise. I'm not betting against Truman. I did that last year, and it almost came back to bite me. And luckily, I weathered the Truman storm. But no, I would not do that against Truman. So
I'm using the 6-state buffer to my benefit.
Guys, Truman bets on himself.
Yeah,
remember
exactly. That. Yeah, he does.
All right, Caster.
So yeah, let's just keep this in the Legacy Products house and welcome the host.
Oh man, this team's really fallen off this year. Let's hear it.
All right. So yeah, surprising to see the host drafted here. Running backs are really strong. Devontae's strong, but Noah Fant could be good, but I mean, a lot of spots to fill, no first round pick. And the thing is that I'll say about our beloved commish here is he knows when he's in rebuild mode. And if he's in rebuild mode, he's in rebuild mode. And so that if the season's not going according to plan, end of the year could look like an appetizing schedule. So
maybe we'll just see.
not to mention the last time Kamish had this much stuff going on in his personal life was his wedding. Spent less time on fantasy football with the move this year and whatnot. I feel like might not have the normal level of attention.
Some strong intel. Now, I just want to rehab. I do have 2 draft picks this year, and the one I'm really leaning on to really make the team is Lucas's 4th round pick that I acquired.
Keep in mind, speaking of betting on yourself,
Landock bet on me. I lost that bet. I got 4. What I got? 410. Is that what it is?
410 for 4-4. Yeah, I think.
410 for 4-4. Oh well.
Great up.
Yeah. Hey, it's still funny to me. It's dead cap either way, Lucas. You know that.
Yeah.
All right. So Canfield, back to back. Finish out your division.
All right. My first pick, I'm going to take Keith Kilps. He's got a lot of cap room, but my main reason is kind of like why Lucas took Oaks. He's got Elliott. He's got Justin Jackson. He'll probably be able to pick up another running back there in the draft. But just looking at the rest of the rosters, I feel like his team's the weakest of the remaining teams.
Now, did you just highlight Justin Jackson as an asset or a liability?
I'm just saying he's on his team.
It's his second best running back right now.
Yeah.
By far.
Interesting. Wow.
But if he gets a running back at 24, 27, 34, and 39, yikes. This is a lot deeper running back draft than I realized.
Excellent. Yeah, Keith's got a lot of draft picks this year. We know he's great with them. You know, he really studies the tape, and he can make the best of any picks that he gets every year. So excited to see who he reaches for this year, like Justin Herbert, right? You know what I'm talking about? Reach the century.
We did shit on that pretty much.
Yeah, that didn't age well, did it?
But you are right. He does open that ESPN Dynasty Rookies thing like 5 minutes before the draft to figure out.
I think he just gets the magazine from April.
Yeah.
I hear paper rustling during the draft. All right, Canfield, who you want last?
Let's see here. This one's tough. I guess my decision here, I'm going to take Smythe.
He's not going to like that.
Yeah. Well, it'd be good to have a rival in my division too, because I'm sure he still hates me over that championship 3 or 4 years ago when he got a 0 on Monday Night Football.
Oof. Yeah. Actually, he brings it up more than you think.
Yeah, I'll say that I'd be pissed too. The main reason here is just that it doesn't look like he's got a whole lot of cap space. I don't want to go up against Dobbins and DK Metcalf and Ayuk and those guys. But at this point in the draft, I mean, I don't want to go up against any of these guys' left team. So the main decision was just he doesn't have a whole lot of cap to build off of.
Yeah, I agree.
50-50 shot here, Andy.
Well, here's the deal, Caster. I'm now in this division. So is this a coin flip? I mean, what are you going through as far as your thought process here?
I mean, the decision is pretty easy to me who it's going to be.
Awesome.
But I would love to hear from a fellow division member what his thoughts are.
I mean, it sounds as if you're leaning ball sack, and now, you know, there's a lot of history there, you and him, and it's always been a nice active rivalry, at least textually.
Yeah.
And actually, that team was brought up earlier today as part of a conversation regarding, is it possible to have a fair and structured trade discussion with Team Ballsack? It was rumored, and I will just stress the rumor, we don't have any real details on this, that someone actually would propose a trade to Ballsack and they would decline it and then counter with Darius Geis for one of your first round picks. Now that seems, let's just say, a little, I don't know, unbecoming of a dynasty manager. So if anything, just for that, you know, that bad form, that lack of chivalry when it comes to fantasy football, I would draft them here just because of, you know, not being on the
I mean, history would say that those type of trading behavior would cause you to be threatened with guns over email.
Possibly. Very much so. First Amendment right. Yeah. Say whatever you want.
So that said, I mean, you're choosing between Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, a backfield of Dalvin Cook and Saquon versus a backfield of Antonio Gibson and Kalen Balaj. Is he? Yeah, he's on the roster. It looks like maybe. I don't know.
Andy, I think you're mistaken. I actually saw him managing a Chipotle earlier today. Now,
yeah, there's nothing in the rules you can't do both, Ross.
Yeah. So Andy, there's another thing. I don't know if you're thinking of this. I shouldn't be kind of, you know, influencing the voting here at all. But are you nervous at all that Ballsack with his 6 or 7 third and fourth round picks this year? I might be getting that number wrong, but are you worried they may actually make a major impact this year?
I am. You know, it's the shotgun approach. You know, just throw as many darts as you can. One may stick.
Now, do you think they've gone with this approach because basically all of their first round picks in history have always been like fourth rounders as far as performance?
Yeah, it does concern me. And I'll never forget when I won a bet against one of the the team members of Team Ballsack that the prize was a coffee or a cappuccino or some nominal reward, and written on it was a broken clock is right twice a day, and even a blind squirrel finds a nut. So this is a team that knows what they're talking about.
Well, speaking of broken nuts, yeah.
Put
Was that
that
a pick?
sack on
I
the
didn't hear a
board.
pick.
Put that
Make it
sack
official.
on the board. We're going to keep it. And also what's pulling me is to, despite the COVID, and who knows when we'll all see each other again, we'll keep this an all Baltimore division.
I like the disrespect of also just calling it Ball's team, but managing to put Justin on there, even though I don't think Justin's logged into RSO in 3 years.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I should put the full name in there. Fixed it. Okay.
I'll take.
So-
Can I think about it for a little bit, or
Well, now, when you did your rankings, Lucas, did you anticipate having Justin there? And Sam?
No, I had Smythe above Justin, or lower, whatever. I had Smythe as Smythe, Canfield, and my teams are the only ones that currently have a startable roster. Like 2 flex out of the like 3 wide receiver, 3 startable wide receivers, 3 running backs, quarterback, tight end. And I think Smythe just needs to sort of pick up 1, maybe 2 people. And Sam has a shitload of cap space, but also has 11 roster spots. So, like, he could make a couple mistakes there. A couple 10, 15, $20 million mistakes that could hamstring him a little bit. And it's not like our other league, Brian. There's a decent amount of cap space floating around there. There's enough teams with only like 1 or 2 holes spend $30 million on, Michael Thomas or something like that. So I don't know. Do you take the team that's fully formed now, or the team that's could be fully formed in a couple of weeks after the auction?
Sure. Well, everybody, you got your divisions, so everybody feel pretty strong. I mean, honestly, Andy, I like my division. I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, as far as Canfield, how do you feel strong about this? Is this what you kind of hope to get out of this draft?
I mean, Landock, yeah, for sure. And Keith, I had him too, so I'm happy getting him. Smythe, I agree with what Lucas was saying. I mean, he does have a fully 14, so he makes me a little nervous. But I was kind of, I had Sam as the last team. But when I looked at Smythe and Ball, I figured he'd get Chase in the draft. And then Ball had some money to grab 1 or 2 guys and fill that roster out. And like I said, that's where was a tiebreaker there. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. All right, Lucas, do you think you still like how this shaped out?
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, I'm picking third too, so I get the dregs, right? But again, we are like, we should run a couple of these back and just look at what you should do like a highlight reel of number 1 overalls ending up as the number 2 seed the next year. So yeah, we are terrible at this. So I think.
Who did you pick first last year? The Gandy, right? You picked him second.
You were first. Didn't you win last year?
Number 1. I picked Keith number 1, and you picked Gandy number 2. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And they finished
1 and 3.
last and third. Yeah, exactly. So that worked.
But also, how did you perform against those 2 teams? I think I swept Oaks.